Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On 49ers Squad Show. I am your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and today, the not very good football for the San Francisco 49ers. A lot of turnovers in this one. Turnover city in Santa Clara, and it bites the 49ers as the Jaguars pounce on them and get the win.
Hey, hello, everyone. Dwayne Boyd here, four-time Super Bowl winner. What I saw in the game today was the 49ers didn't have a running game today. Here is the Jacksonville Jaguars ran for 151 yards against the 49ers 83. Christian McCaffrey, believe it or not, again, 17 carries, 19 yards. That's not very good, He still hasn't found his groove yet, We're still waiting on it to show up.
And the 49ers looking to get back in a winning pace quickly because they face the Los Angeles Rams on Thursday. So not a lot of time to lick their wounds. The Locked On 49ers Squad Show starts now.
To all the faithful, it's the 49ers Squad. Everything San Francisco 49ers every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from Levi's Stadium. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. For those faithful to the Bay, the 49ers Squad Show starts now.
Hey, and thanks for joining us today on the Locked On 49ers Squad Show. Shout out to all of our everydayers tuning in and making us your first listen following these 49ers games. Make sure you're subscribed on the Locked On 49ers podcast feed, YouTube channel, everywhere that you can get the show so you don't miss anything. And this one, a very frustrating game for the 49ers. I mean, it was kind of one of those, I don't know, I had a bad feeling about this one going into this week, and I kept saying it over and over and over again. I was trying to tell anyone who would listen, I'm worried about the Jacksonville Jaguars because their pass defense is pretty damn good. And today we saw the turnovers that the Jaguars can force. They led the NFL in turnovers coming into today, and they forced 4 more against the 49ers, 3 of them at the hands of Brock Purdy, 2 picks and a fumble for Brock, 1 from Luke Farrell, a fumble early on in this one. Dwayne, how tough is it to win a football game when you turn it over 4 times in 60 minutes?
It's a tough situation. When you have 4 turnovers and you don't get nothing going on offense, and your defense, they controlled our defense today. Yeah, and it's hard to win when you put the ball in the other team's hands that many times. You give them too many chances to stay alive, And right now, we talked about it, you can't look in the past and play down, What the 49ers was doing was looking in the past to the Jacksonville Jaguars. But, hey, it was a new team, and a new year this year, a new coach, and it showed up today. They ran the ball. Jacksonville ran the ball well. They ran. Etienne had 6.5 yards a carry. That's a lot. And he had one. The big thing was the 48-yarder. He shouldn't have never got that. It was too many missed tackles. We look like. Well, I hate to say it. We looked a little Sandlotty on that play.
Yeah, man. I mean, it did, and it looked very Sandlotty. That's a good way to put it. All day long for the Niners. By the way, the Jags, they're 4th in the NFL in rush yards per game. They have been really, really efficient running that football. And I mean, you see why. Etienne just really, really laying it on today for the Jags. And they've been very efficient this year. He's been very efficient this year. He averaged 6.5 yards per carry, had 124 yards on 19 carries. McCaffrey, 49 yards on 17 carries. So the inverse of this is that the 49ers could not control the pace of this game, the tempo of this game. Their defense was on the field nonstop in this one. And you can speak to this, Wayne, as a defender. It's exhausting, and it's got to be demoralizing to get a stop and come up with a big stop and then have your offense go out there and just lay an egg, and you just got to go right back out there and try and do your job again. But it's got to be demoralizing when 4 separate times your offense is giving this football away, and you got to go back out there as a defense and try to slow down this running back who just seems like he knows exactly where to run every single time which is an interesting thing we can get into a little bit later on in the show about Robert Saleh's comments about the Jacksonville Jaguars. That he called it like legal Stein stealing. We can talk about that a little bit later. But I mean, ETN really, I mean, it just seemed like whenever the Jags wanted to run outside, they had no problem setting that edge. Whenever they wanted to run between the tackles up the middle, they would get pushed from their center and their guards. And it just seemed like the 49ers were completely overmatched on that in the front seven. This was something that we thought was going to be a strong point of this team still. Like without Nick Bosa, they could still probably stop the run. That was something we discussed a lot. Why were the 49ers so susceptible in the run defense today?
Yeah, one thing it was, like you mentioned earlier, they did a poor job of setting the edge, and being gap sound. I thought too many guys was trying too hard to make a play, and a lot of them was out of that gap, And when you do that, it messes up everything, okay, what happened here? When you get in that what happened here, now someone else is trying to fix it themselves, but instead of the person who's responsible is the guy who should be taking care of business. And that's one thing that showed up a lot, and inside, you got to get knocked back. When you got a good running back who can put his foot in the ground and make that cut, you got to push the front. They got to knock the guys back. And we wouldn't get no push up front. We wouldn't push in the line of scrimmage. We were sitting there, on the line of scrimmage and giving the running back time enough to pick his hole.
Yeah, and it seemed like there were a lot of holes to choose from, and they were pretty big all day long. It did not seem like the 49ers were doing much of anything to be able to stop this Jaguars rushing attack on that long touchdown that ETN had down the left sideline. You saw D. Winters chasing him there and get taken out by his own defender. And I thought Winters was going to have a chance to be able to get there and make the play, but it just seemed like the 49ers tackling today was just not very good. It seemed like they took a lot of bad angles on certain plays and just this kind of felt more like last year's defense than this year's defense. Are you kind of concerned that they might be, sliding back into some bad habits from last season, or is this just one week, turn the page, move on, get back on track, and let's focus on the Rams now?
Well, I think it's 1 week and turn the page and get on, Robert Saleh, he's a great defensive coordinator, I think, and he's going to look at what the defense did well and what they didn't do quite so good. And he's going to build off of that, and he's going to coach those guys up, to their responsibility. And, I think you get into a problem here, I know you have to look at that too. It's like, okay, Nick Bosa's not here now. Okay. Some players look to that too and say, well, we don't have Nick, you can't make excuses, Bosa's gone for the year. Somebody's got to come in and say, hey, we don't have Bosa. We got, it's 11 guys right here lined up on the line, on the field, and we got to take care of our own business. We can't wait for Nick to come back a year from now. We're young in the season. We talked about getting a fast start, and getting these first four wins in a row. And right now, it's only one game. It was only one game that we dropped, but now we got to look at ourselves in the mirror and say, man, we got to get rid of this crap, man. We got to come out and play ball. We got to play our ball. And that's the leadership of the team that has to take over, So the leaders got to speak up now.
Yeah, and one of those leaders, obviously, is your quarterback, Brock Purdy. And he he did not play very well today. I mean, it was more of those things that concern you about Brock, a little, dare I say, Jimmy Garoppolo-esque with some of those throws over the middle. It felt like I was watching OG Jimmy Garoppolo hospital balls over the middle to his on crossing routes and on posts, just leaving his guy completely hung out to dry. A lot of really high misses. And in the NFL, if you're going to miss on a throw, you cannot miss high over the middle. That is rule number one for a quarterback throwing the ball over the middle on anything deep is don't miss high. It's probably going to get picked off. And today you see Brock, again, laying his guys out to take some big shots in this one and also throwing a couple picks. He did have 300 passing yards and he had 2 touchdowns as well. And this one is one of them was I had a lot of fun watching that little shovel pass up the middle to McCaffrey on that running back screen. I thought that was kind of creative. That gave me a little bit of hope in this game because we saw Shanahan getting creative with that red zone play calling. That was something that we had talked about during the week leading up to this one. And I thought, maybe this is something that is going to get this team going. But again, they were not very good in the red zone today. I think it was 1 for 4 on red zone opportunities. So, I mean, just really, really bad football and execution all the way around for the 49ers, from tackling on defense to like Dwayne was just talking about, maintaining their gaps and stopping the run and turning the ball over. You had 2 fumbles in this one. Luke Farrell fumbling as well in this one. Like, you can't have your backup tight end fumbling the football. You can't have that happening and expect to still win football games. And again, the 49ers wide receivers were pretty pedestrian today, outside of Christian McCaffrey, who again led this team in receiving with 6 receptions for 92 yards and a touchdown. But other than that, Jake Tonjes was your next leading receiver with 3 receptions for 58 yards. And Brock spread the ball out pretty good, but ultimately it just seemed like this offense was kind of stuck in the mud all day long. And I think it starts with the run game specifically, but we can get to that a little bit later on. But I want to focus on Brock right now. And are you starting to get worried that maybe the 49ers $50 million man might not be worth the $50 million they paid him in the offseason?
Eric, if I've been asleep for how many years has Brock been on the team? 3 years, and I just woke up today and watched the game, and they told me he was a 6th-round draft pick, I would say, oh, well, he's a 6th-round draft pick. What do you expect, And today, I hate to say it, but he played like, he was a 6th-round draft pick to me, looking at the game situation today, okay? And I thought in the pocket, too. He wasn't very comfortable in the pocket. I didn't feel like he had a feeling for where the rush was coming and where it should slide, and he held the ball too long, and it's always a receiver open in the West Coast offense. If one is not open, 2 is not open, hey, you go to the check down. Okay. And the check down is always open because McCaffrey is usually the check down guy. Yeah. Okay. So he didn't follow his game plan. Maybe the baby kept him up all night. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, still, I see the discussion going on in the chat right now about it's unavoidable, right? Mac Jones comes in and backs up Brock for 2 games, and he wins both of those starts. But then you have Brock come back from injury and look pretty bad, to be totally blunt. But I don't think that you can take this one game from Brock and say, Mac Jones should be the starter. He's better than Brock Purdy, because I really don't think he is. And I don't think that I don't think that you should assess a guy's entire talent based on one game. One thing that I did see at the end of the broadcast was that this is the first time the 49ers have turned the ball over 4 times in one game since that Ravens game back in 2023. You remember that Ravens game when Brock was at like the peak of his like MVP candidacy that year, which felt kind of overblown, but there was a lot of people banging the drum in 2023 for Brock to win the MVP. They play the Ravens in a primetime game, and Brock, I mean, looked awful. I think he threw 3 picks in that game. The Ravens just absolutely just dog walked the 49ers that day. And while the loss wasn't as dramatic as it was that day, the 49ers offense kind of felt as inept as it did that day, which it just felt like every time that this offense had the ball, it was almost surprising when they would get chunk plays or be able to move the chains. You kind of expected like, okay, like let's just be able to maybe get some good field position out of this drive, like let's get a first down or 2, get a good punt and set our defense up with a nice long field. And maybe they can get us the ball back in plus territory. And for the 49ers, that's not how you're going to be able to win football games, right? Like so much of this offense is about timing. And Brock's timing is going to be thrown off when he hasn't played with a lot of this reworked offensive line since he went down and got injured. The 49ers have shifted some things up front since Brock's injury. The wide receiver core also different today. You have the addition of Demarcus Robinson, Juwan Jennings not really 100%. He looked very banged up out there today. Pearsall also looking banged up today. So you have a lot of moving parts in this offense, and not to mention, how many damn drops can you have in one football game? I mean, my God, that was I think 10 drops or something like that in this one for the 49ers. It was awful, absolutely awful, the number of passes that they dropped. And You can only have so many of these errors and expect to overcome these types of situations and still win a football game. And I don't think you can pin all this on Brock, even though he did play pretty poorly. Like you talked about, Dwayne, all of this type of like timing style offense, the West Coast offense, the type of offense that Shanahan wants to run, it's all predicated on the run game. And as you told us in the beginning of the show, it's not been very good this year.
No, it hasn't. And the thing that with this offense, with Shanahan's offense, is the running game. The running game sets up the passing game. It's not the other way around, and that's one thing that's hurting them right now. They can't. It's hard for them to go play action pass when the guys up front are keying off. And you gotta help the protection too. If if you got some guys, that can rush your passer against you, you got to keep a tight end in. You got to keep somebody in, or another running back or something. You just can't run guys out. Five guys out. And keep five in. You got to be able to handle the protection until you figure out what teams are doing, what blitzes they're running, and all of that. Because if not, it's going to be a long Sunday. And I'll blame it on the running game until the running game gets going, and like you said, we haven't seen it yet. The receivers, the balls was high because guess what? He couldn't step into his throws today. He was getting pushed, okay? You got a big defensive front in front of you, you got guys up there, 6'7", 6'8", and he can't step in to his throw, once they push the pocket, or either you start moving the pocket, and we didn't see very much of that, It wasn't you didn't see Brock, sliding in the pocket or moving out of the pocket, I know one play showed up was down the red zone when they should have scored, and it was on 4th down, I think it was, and they should have just went trips right, sprint right option. That's an old 49er play. It's the play that Joe Montana ran for years. It's the play to beat the Dallas Cowboys to put us in the Super Bowl the first time. That's the same play that beat us in the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs. It was sprint right option. Okay, it's the same play, and to me, it's a hard play to stop, but it didn't. It hasn't shown up. I haven't seen it one time this year. I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I might have missed it.
Yeah, I mean, the 49ers offense just has not looked like the 49ers offense really at any point in time this year. I mean, the best drive that we've seen from the 49ers might have been their very first drive of the season against the Seahawks, where they went that 90-plus yard drive to score a touchdown. The offense looked like it was clicking on all cylinders. You had George Kittle catch the touchdown pass at the end. And since that moment, it just has not looked the same. I mean, Christian McCaffrey's longest run today was 11 yards. This guy is completely bottled up right now. The explosive plays seem to have completely gone away. He did have a 29 yard reception, but it's different, right? Like, I love McCaffrey's versatility in the pass game, and it's no knock against him in his talent, like his versatile ability out there on the field. He's probably the most versatile player in the game with the number of different things he can do, how good he is at pass blocking as well, running between the tackles, outside the tackles when he looks good and when he looks like he's 100%, and also going out wide, catching the ball out of the backfield as well. And you can put him anywhere on the field, he will be a threat. He's just not as much of a threat to win every single possession. Looks like we lost Dwayne there. Not sure what happened, but we'll try and get him back. But in this one, just a very frustrating loss for the 49ers. I mean, McCaffrey, 2.9 yards per carry. It's got to get better than that. It's got to get better. Yeah, we got back there.
Back, yeah.
But we got a little bit of echo going. Just like we did that last time. We might be able to fix that.
All right.
But for the 49ers, this one, just very with this team and them not being able to move the ball with any kind of regularity. Christian McCaffrey, again, just not, he hasn't looked like himself. He hasn't been able to get it going this year like he has in other years past. And I don't know, man, I don't really foresee Christian McCaffrey getting back on track the way that he did or way that he looked pre Achilles injuries. This just might be who he is. And we've been talking about that a lot this season, that Christian McCaffrey very well could just be kind of this version of himself for the rest of his career. He's still going to be a versatile guy that can run routes really effectively and be a weapon in the pass game, but he's not going to rip you off those 70-yard chunk plays. I saw the highlights from a couple of years ago when McCaffrey was still on the Panthers, and he had that like 250-yard all-purpose yard day against the Jags. Absolutely torched the team. I think he had like 3 touchdowns when he was still on the Carolina Panthers. Helicoptered into the end zone when he tried to leap over a guy and got cracked. And let me tell you, the explosiveness, go back and find that package. I think NFL put it out on their on all their socials. But if you go back and find that package, Christian McCaffrey's burst, oh my God, it is night and day different compared to what it is now. And you kind of got to expect that. The mileage, the injuries, the wear and tear on this guy's body, the amount of abuse that this guy has taken. How many times have we seen Christian McCaffrey have 30 touches in a game in Kyle Shanahan's system? Quite a lot, man. And it doesn't really matter if he's healthy or not going through this system. So Christian McCaffrey just not looking very healthy to me. He doesn't look very explosive, kind of like how he looked at how he looked last year or prior to last year with all the injuries. But I don't know, man. This might just be who he is going forward. And that's a big problem for this 49ers offense if they can't get this right. So 49ers lose this one to the Jacksonville Jaguars 26-21. We got to take a quick break here. On the other side, we got a lot more to get into from this game. I don't think we've talked enough about the Jaguars matchups offensively versus the 49ers defensively. We got to look at that and just how Travis Etienne and the rest of this rushing attack was able to really attack the 49ers and how the 49ers were unable to force any turnovers of their own and how that troubling theme continued in today's game. We'll get into that and a lot more next on the Locked On 49ers Squad Show. Today's show is brought to you by PrizePicks. Every day we make decisions, but on PrizePicks, being right can actually get you paid. Don't miss the excitement of this football season with PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. Playing PrizePicks is such a fun, simple way to add more excitement to football. You just pick more or less on player projections like Josh Allen's passing yards or Saquon Barkley rushing for a touchdown, and you're in the game. And for tonight, if you're looking to get in on some action before Sunday Night Football gets going, I mean, I'm going Jordan Love. Last I checked, the line was 234.5. I'm going the over on the passing yards for that against this awful Dallas Cowboys defense. And I'm pairing that with a Josh Jacobs more than half a touchdown. And we're also going to go with Javonte Williams more than half a touchdown. So Javonte Williams more than half a touchdown, Josh Jacobs more than half a touchdown, and Jordan Love more than 234.5 passing yards. It's going to be a win. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Welcome back to the Locked On 49ers Squad Show. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, joined by my guy, Dwayne Board, 4-time Super Bowl champion, Dwayne Board, and we're a little light on the Squad Show today. No Brian Peacock, no Eric Crocker today, so it's a little bit smaller of a squad, but I mean, I think we're still looking pretty good with Dwayne on the show today, bringing that Super Bowl expertise. You know what I mean? So 49ers would look real good with some Super Bowl expertise on this defensive line right now, because, I mean, man, they do not look like a Super Bowl caliber defensive line without Nick Bosa. And I'm concerned about what we saw from this Jaguars offense today, because if you can't stop the run, it's going to be an issue going forward. I mean, you have to be able to hang your hat on something as a defense. You have to have some kind of identity. And right now, with Nick Bosa being hurt, I feel like that identity is kind of muddy, right? Like, I think that's a good word for it, is muddy. I'm not really sure what this 49ers defense is. If they're going to be a team that just plays hard-nosed, stuff in the run, tackle football, and they're wrapping guys up and in the backfield and making TFLs and all these kinds of things. I don't know if we're going to see that from this defense without Nick Bosa. So, Dwayne, I'm curious, do you think that this 49ers defense has an identity problem right now, or is this just the Jaguars rushing game doing more of what it did against every other team it's played so far this season.
I think the defense has lost a little bit of its identity with Nick Bosa going down. But, you go back and look at the Jaguars' offense, the rushing offense, what hurt them, what really, when a team gets a explosive run on you for 48 yards for a touchdown early in the game, man, that kind of, that puts a damper on what you're trying to do, and that's another thing, too, that the 49ers let happen to them, too, was letting them get their neck up in the running game. The quarterback still, he didn't affect the game throwing it, I don't think, very much, The guy, I mean, his longest pass completion was 28 yards, to Travis Hunter. That doesn't kill you, right? You can give up one of those in the game and get away with it. We look at explosive runs, but they didn't give up that many explosive runs. They gave up 2, and that was it, and that hurt them. You like to go in and not give up any explosive runs. You shouldn't have no runs, no explosive runs, but we gave up 2, and that kind of, set the tone for the Jaguars, like the coach for the Jaguars knew that, hey, we got to protect our quarterback with our running game. All right. And that's what they did. They came out and controlled the ball. Controlling, and they got the turnovers when we didn't, We didn't get one turnover, and that hurt us, on defense. And those turnovers go away, and you giving up, turnovers, it's going to make a big swing in points allowed, and that's what they did. They allowed, I look at it too, special teams too, a punt return.
Yeah.
That was a big play too.
Yeah.
Okay. You got to count that. Okay. So, yeah, some things we got to iron out if we're going to be able to make a run for the season. But we can't pack our bags and say, hey, the season's over right now because we lost Nick Bosa. Hell no. Okay.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's one loss. The 49ers have 3 wins and 1 loss, and they've beaten 2 division opponents so far this year. They're not in a bad spot record wise. And it's not like the sky is falling with this team, but there's some pretty glaring issues this loss exposed a lot for the 49ers, and including you bring up the special teams thing, man. I'm so unbelievably tired of talking about bad 49ers special teams plays. Unbelievably tired of this, because this is the storyline in so many 49ers games all season long, last year, all season long, the year before, in the playoffs, and now this season in the 4th game of the season. We have without that punt return, the Jags don't win this game. And also, then I guess this isn't special teams play specifically, but Kyle Shanahan decision making. If he kicks field goals on some of those red zone trips instead of near red zone trips, instead of trying to go for it on 4th down, 49ers win this football game. If you take 2 of those field goal opportunities and you kick the damn field goal instead of you take the points and you take some kind of victory from the drive instead of just a zero-sum outcome, you win this football game. 6 more points, the 49ers win this game. And that's one of the most frustrating parts about this, is they really did honestly do enough to win this football game, which is, barely enough. And they did not play well in general, but it's not like the Jags went out there and beat them. You know what I mean? Like, the Jaguars didn't go out there and punch them in the mouth. Like, yeah, Travis Etienne had that back-breaking huge touchdown run. That was early on. The 49ers could have overcome it. Like you said, Dwayne, Trevor Lawrence had 174 passing yards and 1 touchdown. This guy did not, it's not like the Jags, didn't give the 49ers second life, because they did time and time and time and time again. And the 49ers still had a chance to win this game despite losing the turnover battle 4-0. That is, it's not all this to say the Jaguars did not go out there and beat the 49ers as much as the 49ers went out there and beat themselves. And that's the most frustrating part of a loss like this, is I feel like you can, this is a game when you're looking back at the end of the season, and if you miss the playoffs by a game, or you miss winning the division by a game, this is one that you're going to look at and say 49ers could have had it.
You're right about that. Cal, you go back and look at the game, okay? Cal got to realize, he was 8 of 13 on 3rd down, which is 61%, and you look at Jacksonville, That they were 28% on third down, and that that's saying something right there. The defense stopped them when they had to stop them, and those chances, like you say, putting points on the board, put the kicker out there, let him do something, okay, and not just go for it on fourth down. And going back to that play on fourth down, I thought it was a bad call. It wasn't a good play called in the beginning, and that hurts, and I think, going down the road, the games in the future, this game right here, like you said, it's going to play a big part. Hey, we had them at home, right on turf, and when you let them get off, they shouldn't have never beat us here. They shouldn't have got more than 14 points here, and you got when you're playing at home, just like going on the road, you got to bring all three phases of your game too. You got to bring offense, defense, and your special teams. And this game right here, we got an F in all those areas. We got 3 Fs today. That's the way I put it. I used to hate waking up in the morning and opening up the green page of the Chronicle, and then grade everybody, and you're like looking at, so what does this jerk know about football? I guess I'm one of them jerks right now because, man, I'm throwing some F's out here today.
And I mean, the 49ers, I don't know how you think about it in any other way other than just how you described, because I mean, again, 4 turnovers to 0 turnovers. If you got to come up and go make a play, if you're sitting there on defense and you're watching the offense turn the ball over time and time again, or on special teams. I mean, again, I cannot, I don't have the words to explain how exasperated I am when it comes to talking about bad 49er special teams. Like it genuinely makes my blood boil. Like my blood pressure starts to go up. I can feel my voice get tighter. I can feel the tension rising. I like need to go, like, I don't know, take an Ativan or something, man. Like it's just, I cannot handle how bad this 49ers special teams is. And it's almost like a trauma response at this point, right? Like you see him, you see an opening, you see a guy hit it on a punt return. You're like, oh my God, again, like he's not even anywhere close to the end zone. Makes that first guy miss. And you're like, that's a touchdown. Immediately. That's my reaction every time. Because I have no faith in this team. I have no faith in their special teams ability. And I don't know why anybody should. They've been so bad in this phase of football for so long, going all the way back to Kyle Williams and him muffing punts and costing the 49ers a Super Bowl. I mean, it makes me so damn mad watching this team just go out there and be so it's so undisciplined, right? Like it's just undisciplined football, because special teams is all about maintaining your lane, maintaining your gap. And if everyone just does what they're supposed to do, you're not giving up a kick return for a touchdown ever. There's plenty of teams in the NFL who go through a whole season without ever giving up a kick return for a touchdown. The 49ers seems like every single year it's 1 or 2 or 3 or, and it's so unbelievably exhausting to talk about. But it definitely played a factor in this one. Without that punt return, the Jags don't win this football game. So it's as simple as that. So the 49ers really did do enough to win this football game, even though the Jags outrushed them. The 49ers, Brock Purdy had almost twice the amount of passing yards as Trevor Lawrence. 49ers offense as a whole, more total yards than the Jacksonville Jaguars. Like Dwayne said, you had more first down conversions. You had better third down efficiency. Doesn't matter. You turn the ball over 4 times and you come up with zero turnovers yourself, you're going to lose that football game. I'm going to say 99 times out of 100. So 49ers end up on the wrong side of this one, fall 26-21 to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And on the other side, we got to talk a little bit about this like legal sign stealing thing. If you guys heard about that, we'll get into it on the other side. Bob Saleh kind of talked about that at one of his pressers this week leading up to this game. And Cohen for the Jags basically wasn't really willing to talk about it, but also didn't really deny that that's what they were doing either. We'll get into all that next on the Locked On 49ers Squad Show. Today's show is sponsored by Rugiet. And guys, you've probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rugiet Go Long. If you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's it's time to meet Rugiet go long. That's a nice error in our ad copy here. That's exactly where this product comes in. It isn't just another ED pill. It's a total game changer, and it helps build your confidence. And Go Long combines 2 doctor-trusted medications into one dual-action formula, so you can get hard and go the distance. Wish the 49ers defense could get hard and go the distance, man. Stop that run game a little bit today. Maybe they need a little bit of Rugiet injected into that defense. Ready to level up your confidence in the bedroom? Head to Rugiet.com and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL for 15% off your first order. That's RUGIET.com, promo code LOCKEDONNFL. Make sure you use our code so they know we sent you. Welcome back to the Locked On 49ers Squad Show. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, joined by my guy, Dwayne Board, 4-time Super Bowl champion Dwayne Board. And today, just a very frustrating loss. I keep throwing that word out around a lot, frustrating, because it's the overwhelming feeling that I have about this 49ers loss. I hate losing games because of self-inflicted wounds. And again, it's not like the Jaguars went out and beat the 49ers. 49ers beat themselves by turning the ball over 4 times and giving away that kick return for a touchdown. Jaguars, again, it's not like they stepped on the throat of the 49ers while they were down and just ended it right there. They had 12 penalties for 90 yards. They gave the 49ers almost a full football field worth of penalties. And again, you can't capitalize on it. The 49ers offense just looked stuck in the mud at certain times, even though you did have 300 plus yards from Brock. The turnovers, the run game, all bad stuff. But the run game specifically is kind of what I want to get into on both sides of the ball, on the 49ers inability to run the ball and the Jaguars' ability to really attack the 49ers. It all kind of connects, because I think it relates to something that Robert Saleh said in his press conference earlier this week, where he kind of put on blast the Jaguars coaching staff. And he said, these guys have this really complex, he called it legal sign stealing. Dwayne, did you see this, what am I trying? Press conference. That's the word. Did you see this press conference that Saleh had where he talked about this?
No, I didn't see the press conference, but it goes back to the New England Patriots when they used to steal signs. But today in this age of football, you got, everyone has the communications come in from the sidelines, from the defense coordinator, goes to the linebacker. Linebacker makes a call. Okay, you line up. When you line up, then if you got to make an adjustment after you line up, then it's all hand signals. You got to change those signals up, You got to come out in some defenses where you don't have no hand signals, no adjustments. Go ahead and make something, just make stuff up to confuse them. But, I don't buy that, so much, that at this day and age, because of the communication process comes in through off the line script from the sidelines, comes in through the linebacker's helmet. So he's the one that's calling the defense. Okay, as far as the adjustment goes in the secondary, when they're making the adjustments, they give the hand signals, but you change those up too. You don't have to keep the same hand signals every week. So I don't know about that. Maybe it is. Maybe it is true. Maybe I got away from the game too long, and now they got a new way of doing it. I don't think they make hand signals on Madden. That's where a lot of guys learn to play the game at. I don't buy that.
I think there's something to be said for preparation, right? Like you can prepare better than other people, but I don't think that I don't think there's anything the Jaguars are doing that the 49ers aren't also doing. You know what I mean? Like, every team's got like a scouting department. Every team's trying to decipher what the other team is doing on it. To me, it's like that whole conversation was almost kind of like the baseball sign stealing conversation, where it's like, okay, yeah, we know that some teams are better at it than other teams, but everybody's doing the same stuff, man. There's no competitive advantage being had here. And it's all just coaching staffs doing hard work and trying to be able to decipher what offenses are doing. And like you're saying, Dwayne, that puts the onus on Kyle Shanahan to switch up the looks of what you're using offensively. And I feel like he's just trying the same thing over and over again offensively with the running game. And it's so wild to me to even say this, but like, I feel like Kyle Shanahan at one point in time was this ultra creative play caller where one thing would just like, it was one play to set up another play to set up another play to set up another play. And when we've seen Kyle kind of get out of his play calling rhythm, when those plays stop being effective and stop working, and he has not really shown the ability to adapt to those situations and find something else to go to that does kind of work to set other plays up and get going in the run game. And while he does have the same versatile play calling, where he's going inside and outside with the run game, mixing different looks at the running back, it still just feels like kind of the same. It's a variety of plays, but it feels like we're recycling the same things every week. And it seems like it's been that way since last season. And I don't know what it is, man. It just feels to me like you need some kind of creativity, some kind of shakeup in the run game. And I'm not an offensive coordinator. Sometimes I like to play one on this podcast, but if I'm Kyle Shanahan, I need to do something different. Like I need to start thinking outside the box. Like you said, maybe bringing in some extra bigger bodies to help move some of those guys up front, because you don't have a George Kittle to seal that edge anymore in the run game. You don't have, Trent Williams doesn't really look like Trent Williams of old, which eventually, like Father Time's undefeated, he's going to catch up to all of us, but even Trent Williams. But I mean, the rest of that left side of the line, it just doesn't look very good, man. Like you're relying on guys he's trying to do the same things. It feels like that worked in the past with a different set of personnel this year that just doesn't fit what the 49ers used to do. And so, Dwayne, I'm wondering if you're seeing the same thing I am, because I don't know. I think that there should be some onus on Kyle Shanahan here to kind of mix up the play calling and get things going a little bit. McCaffrey's got to be better. The Lions got to be better. 2.9 rush yards. It's not just one guy's fault. That's a complete systematic breakdown. 2.9 yards per carry is. But I mean, do you think that the 49ers would benefit from Shanahan getting a little more creative on the play sheet, or is it just guys not executing?
Well, he got creative today a couple of times, with the shuffle pass, and then he had the.
I like that. I like that look a lot.
Then he had the flip pass going down down in the red zone, and he changed up a couple of times then. But the thing about that is, you have to do that earlier, okay? Because especially when you fall behind, you got to show something different. You just can't. When you down 14 points. The other team is looking at, guess what? They got to throw the ball now. You got to change it up. You got to put some wrinkles in there, and you're right. He's too bland in his play calling right now. He need to open the offense up. These guys, is he scared to open the offense up because he got all these new guys in there, or he's just afraid of protecting the quarterback, or something's got to change, or it's going to be like this the rest of the season, And when we go back and looking at that, when the offense is, turning the ball over, the defense is like, oh no, we got to go back out there again. That's what, you don't want that to happen, because right now you're looking at that defensive front right now, they're young guys, and you're looking at the only guy, Fred Warner's the only veteran at linebacker, really. And you're looking at too, they don't keep track of that. How many times did the ball hit Fred in his hands today? He had a chance for at least 2 picks,
Yeah.
That's a game changer right there,
Yeah, and they had another a would-be turnover called back for a penalty, and in this one as well, and just plenty of missed opportunities.
Yeah, and that changes the game too. When you don't have no turnovers, that's big.
Yeah, and the 49ers have not been very good at producing those turnovers this year at all. And if you can't force turnovers, you can't stop the run. If the only quarterback that you're good at stopping the pass against is Trevor Lawrence, who has shown that he can't throw the ball against anybody in the NFL yet, what does this defense do well, Dwayne? Is there somewhere that this defense can go and hang their hat right now, or is this are they in prove-it mode next week against the Rams?
I think today to me looked like they were in reboot mode, and they got to reboot. They got to reboot before they go down to LA. It's not, because the Rams right now, they're riding high. What, at 4-0? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the way Tutu Atwell 88-yard touchdown. I had flashbacks to him running down the field against the 49ers early last season, crushing the hearts of the faithful everywhere. And again, he put the Rams up late with that huge score for them, and they look really good, man. They look really good. And I've been saying this all season long. I think nationally, our team, the media and NFL fans in general are kind of sleeping on the NFC West. Like, this team or this conference as a whole is good. It's a very good conference, one of the best in all of the NFL. And I'm not saying it is far and away the best or anything like that, but every single one of these teams got better this offseason. The Seahawks, the Cardinals, the 49ers, the Rams, they all got better this offseason. This is going to be a competitive division all the way through. I think those 2 division wins that the 49ers had at the beginning of the season are big. But I also think 4-1 feels a lot different than 3-2. If the 49ers lose on Thursday against the Rams, it's going to be a lot different feeling around the 49er faithful. So I don't know, man. Do you think that they were overlooking this game? Like I said going into this one, that you it gave me a little bit of trap game vibes. Like you got the Rams on a short week coming up, and you got a team that you might overlook in the Jacksonville Jaguars, thinking, oh, we're better than them. And do you think that mentality maybe settled into the 49ers a little bit this week, Dwayne?
Well, from the start of the game, they moved the ball down the field, and what do we end up with? We end up with a field goal when we should have put it in the end zone. Yeah. They had too many opportunities, and we're still looking at one thing that the 49ers have to do is when you can't play to the level of your opponent. Okay, that's what we did today. We played down to the level of the Jacksonville Jaguars, because you're looking at those numbers, Eric. What does those numbers show you? The Jacksonville Jaguars are just an average team. So now you coming in next week, you got the Los Angeles Rams, and I've never liked the Rams from day one, okay? And I remember we beat them 18 times in a row, and that's hard. It's hard for the Rams to accept, but it's easy for me to say we did it, okay? And that's what the 49ers got to do. They got to go down there and say, hey, after the game's over, we did it, okay?
Yeah, man. I think a win on Thursday cures all bad feelings about this one. A loss on Thursday, especially in a similar fashion, if the 49ers turn the ball over a lot, and if they can't force turnovers against Matthew Stafford and the Rams, I think it's gonna be a very uncomfortable feeling in 49er land if you lose on Thursday against the Rams. It's Thursday night football. Anything can happen. I absolutely hate trying to predict what a Thursday night football game is going to look like, because it feels like the most unpredictable thing in sports. You never know who's going to show up on those days, on those short weeks. It's very hard to predict. I absolutely hate betting on Thursday night football. Dwayne knows I talk about it before we start our show all the time. I am a certified degenerate with my sports gambling, and I completely stay away from Thursday night football because it absolutely terrifies me. I've been burned so many times. But for the 49ers today, man, very, 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 again, frustrating loss for the 49ers. They can't run the football at all, and that's got to change. If this team wants to be a playoff team this year, you gotta be able to run the ball better than 3.5 yards per carry. Christian McCaffrey's got to be better than 2.9 yards per carry. I know that he's essentially wide receiver 1 right now, but I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe it's just the amount of touches that he's getting. Maybe you need more Brian Robinson. I mean, he looked pretty good today in his few touches. It's not like he didn't get any opportunities at all. He had 5 rushing attempts. He had 21 yards. He had a long of 7. So nothing, jumping off the page at you. But Dwayne, would you look to maybe get Brian Robinson involved in the game, especially on a short week, especially with as many touches as McCaffrey's had? Would you try and really make a point to give Brian Robinson Jr. some more touches against the Rams on Thursday?
Oh, we talked about this a few shows back that, I would put him in and let Robinson get some touches, and bring Chris McCaffrey in on third down, okay, when you need him, okay, when that's what he does best. He's a great third down back right now, I think, and right, you go back and look at the numbers. How many times did he touch the ball this last game? I think it was over 50% of the time again, right? So
he had 23 touches today between his 6 receptions and 17 carries.
Yeah, that's too much, right now for one guy to take. It's like, and teams are seeing that right now. It's probably the first thing they, when they come in on Monday and get a scouting report, they say, oh, this is the guy we got to stop this week. Okay. We take him out of the game. We're not going to worry about the rest of the guys, So that's something's got to change, somebody else has got to step up, and how long is Kittle going to be out? It's his week for coming back, isn't it? Or he's looking at the team right now and having second thoughts. But I don't think Kittle's that kind of guy. He's probably itching at the bit right now to get back in the flow of things.
Yeah, I don't think Kittle's eligible to return this week against the Rams. I think he's still 1 week away because they put him on the IR after that week 1
that's
win.
right. They didn't put him
he's
in
got
before.
One more week after Rams week. He could be eligible to return.
Right.
And that would be a huge lift, man. Like that is like the key that unlocks the rest of this offense, right? Like Kittle being on this team would I mean, and this is again looping it back to where we started the show. This is why I don't put it all on Brock's shoulders, because nobody in the NFL is phenomenal when they have this number of pass catching options injured. Like, what quarterback in the NFL is still good when you take away option 1 and option 2 in the passing attack, and options 3, 4, and 5 are all, either getting assimilated into the offense or are injured, or are a running back who's got 30-ish touches a game for every single game so far this year. You know what I mean? Like it's not a good set of parameters for Brock to work with. And what quarterback is going to do good in that situation? Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady. Like, yeah, okay, maybe Brock isn't a generational talent like Josh Allen or something, but there's a lot of functional quarterbacks that have won Super Bowls without being Tom Brady, without being Patrick Mahomes, without being Josh Allen hasn't won a Super Bowl for that, point being, Brock doesn't need to be that level of good for the 49ers to win football games. He doesn't need to be Tom Brady. He doesn't need to be Patrick Mahomes. You just got to have, some pass catchers out there for him to throw the damn ball to. And if Kittle is back on this team, it changes the run game. Like, you put George Kittle on this football team, Christian McCaffrey has more than 2.9 yards per carry. That's for damn sure. I would bet my whole house on that, man. Like, George Kittle, you're seeing how hard of a time the 49ers have setting the edge. George Kittle is out there on the field. He is going to set that edge. You know what I mean? And so if he's out there, it changes the whole calculus, not just in the pass game, but the run game as well. And the 49ers miss him a lot. And it's going to be crucial to get him back and to get him back healthy to the point where he can be a dominant run blocker and still impact the game, catching the football and getting those yards after catch. And again, the 49ers offense, last time it looked normal was that very first drive of the season where they went 90 plus yards against the Seahawks and George Kittle caught a touchdown pass to cap it off. That is the last time that this offense looked functional and how we all thought it would be. It looked like that one drive that they had together in the preseason where everything looked great on that one drive where we saw the starters out there. And we thought that's what the offense was going to look like this season. And you haven't had those same horses. So of course it's looked different. And hopefully, you're starting to get into the time frame where you can start thinking about Brandon Ayuk maybe coming back. He was they said around week 6 initially he would come back again. It's the 49ers reporting injuries, so you never really know what to believe and what to just kind of take with a grain of salt. But hopefully you can get something back, some kind of reinforcements. Pearsall banged up in this one as well. So Juwan Jennings also banged up in this one. Your second leading receiver is Jake Tonjes. That's where the 49ers are at right now. And Jake Tonjes is not a guy that we thought was going to be catching footballs at all this season for the 49ers. So just again, I'm not giving Brock a complete pass on this because again, all the hospital balls over the middle, the Jimmy Garoppolo-esque performance, not something anybody wants to see. You can't throw those passes, but it's at a certain point, I get why the guy's trying to force it in there. Maybe don't leave your receivers hung out to dry as much, but I get why he's trying to force the issue offensively. And it's not like he's got a lot of options right there to go to and to get this offense humming. It just looks stagnant right now. And again, it all starts with the run game. If they can't run the football and you don't have targets for Brock to throw to, you can't expect Brock to go out there and look like Tom Brady. You just can't. So 49ers fall in this one, 26-21 to the Jacksonville Jaguars. We've got to take one last break here. On the other side, we're going to wrap up the show, put a nice little bow on it, and maybe get into some things about next week against the Rams. What are the 49ers going to need to do to get back on track? We'll be right back here on the Locked On 49ers Squad Show. Today's show is sponsored by 5 Hour Energy, and caffeine just got a major flavor upgrade because 5 Hour Energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients with 0 sugar and 0 crashes. What I love most is how portable they are. Big taste, tiny shot. You can take it anywhere and get that boost when you need it. And it is so much more convenient than having to pull the e-brake in the middle of your day, go find a coffee shop, stand in line. I live in San Francisco. Yeah, you can imagine how long I'm going to have to be sitting in that damn line to get some coffee just for a cup of coffee, man. Finding parking, all that stuff, it is just a hassle. And plus, it's expensive. So with 5 Hour Energy, it's a lot more convenient to just keep one in my pocket throughout the day and access it whenever I need it. Enough with boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5 Hour Energy shots. Get the favorites you love or be bold and try something new in store and online at www.5hourenergy.com or on Amazon today. Welcome back to the Locked On 49ers Squad Show. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and today the 49ers fall to the Jaguars 26-21 at Levi's. The 49ers 3-1 on the season. They got the Rams coming up next week, and this is going to be a major pivot point, I think, for the 49ers in their season because you're looking ahead, and after this Jags game, the schedule seems to pick up a little bit, right? Like the Bucs are a little bit better, which they'll face after the Rams. They got to go on the road and fly across the country. That's not going to be an easy matchup at 10 a.m. on the East Coast. And I don't know. It just seems like the 49ers are going to be tested a little bit more in these next 2 weeks than they have maybe to this point this season. So with the Rams, the 49ers hitting the road, going on Thursday Night Football. It'll be on Amazon Prime, which everybody loves, and they'll be playing the Rams at SoFi. And hopefully the 49er faithful are able to turn SoFi into Levi's South like they usually do. But again, I'm worried about this matchup, Dwayne. I want to be hyped. I want to have the Ronnie Lott mentality of I can't wait for Rams week. But man, I'm not very hyped for Rams week right now with the way that both of these teams look after today. What are you expecting on Thursday?
Well, I expect an improvement, and you go back and you look at the old Rams. You know, those guys, they've always been explosive ever since McVay has been there. And the thing that he does is, man, he runs a lot of motion. Okay, he tries to trick people with his motion. He's always been that way. And the thing that we got to do is, like, on defense, we got to come out, we got to start fast, we got to put more pressure on the quarterback. You know, it was kind of this last game against Jacksonville. You know, it seems like Trevor Lawrence had too much time back there, you know, in the pocket. You know, he wasn't forced to move around very much, but he didn't throw very much because he didn't have to, because they had the running game working. And we got to go and bring our special teams with us too. Special teams got to show up on the road. Yeah, I've said over and over again, I sound like a broken record. When you go on the road, man, you got to pack your defense and your special teams, okay? And that's what we got to do. And hopefully, like you said, there's a lot of red in that stadium like it usually is, you know. Kick the Rams fans out, you know. Leave them in the parking lot with blue tablecloths and chairs and candle light and drinking our you know, I don't know what they drank down there, with the wine spritzes or something, you know. Leave them in the parking lot, you know, and we take the stadium over. That's what we got to have to win.
And if you give Matt Stafford that time that you gave Trevor Lawrence to just sit back there and pick you apart, Matt Stafford's going to throw for a lot more than 170 some odd yards. I'll tell you what, man. Matt Stafford is he might be an old guy, but he's still one of the best in the league at slinging it around when you give him that time. Not the most mobile guy anymore, but man, Stafford can still chuck it with the best of them. And when you give if you give these receivers time to work open, Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams will eat you alive. So the 49ers, I think, absolutely have their work cut out next week against the Rams, a very potent offense that can really put up some points in a hurry. So I don't know, man. I'm a little worried about this matchup. I'm not feeling great about it. Kind of similar to how I was not feeling great about this Jags matchup. There's a lot of reasons why. I told everybody coming into this week, like, don't sleep on this Jaguars team. I know it's Jacksonville. I know it's that expansion franchise down there in the Everglades, but they're playing some good defense, and they came back and pounced on the 49ers mistakes today. 4 of them for the Niners, 4 turnovers in this one, and it just was too much for them to overcome. Too many self-inflicted wounds, not enough movement at the line of scrimmage at the point of attack, not enough of a hole for McCaffrey to run through in a lot of this game, and again, just not the outcome that you wanted in this one. So the Niners pick up their first loss of the season, 26-21 out there at Levi's against the Jaguars. As we've been talking about, they face the Rams on Thursday, 5:15 kick Pacific time on Amazon Prime. And hopefully the 49ers get this win in primetime, their first primetime game of the season. So that'll be interesting for the Niners. But it's about all the time that we got for you guys in today's show here on the Locked On 49ers Squad show. Light squad today, but Dwayne, it's always fun hanging out with you, man. I always appreciate you taking the time and sharing some of your wisdom and expertise with us. It's always a pleasure.
Okay, next week I'll have some Ram stories. Okay, we can pull out the Ram stories. Yeah,
I cannot wait, man. I cannot wait. We'll be coming live during our weekday show on Wednesdays, as we always do. Hopefully you guys can't hear this siren going by in the background. It's real loud. Sorry about that. But yeah, that's all the time we got for you guys today here on the Locked On 49ers Squad show. I am your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace out, people.